Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Simon and we are the Wells of Wall Street. Today we're looking at Solana, SOL on the exchange. Absolutely phenomenal blockchain powerhouse, incredible asset and project. I'm going to open up. Actually, I haven't got any SOL. I did have some way back in the early parts of this year. Sold off near the top, and of course we had the big drop into July. But I didn't buy back in. That's not because I don't believe in the project or what it's about. It's just I had so many other portfolio assets that this one was going to be too much for me by the time I was going to jump in. I just didn't see the growth pattern that I would get in terms of my gains, and that doesn't mean anyone's right or wrong. That's just my opinion, but I wanted to make it clear that I don't always talk about projects that I have. It's very important to acknowledge, really good projects across the board and help you guys out as our wonderful subscribers for the ones that you might hold. So let's look at a couple of bits of information. This might be a reflection on some of the chart activity that we've seen today in particular. So I just thought I'd pull this article out from Crypto Slate. So Solana had transactions stopping on their mainnet. So intermittent instability. Now, when these sorts of things happen, there always seems to be a bit of a catalyst and a bit of a panic overdrive of people, and then thinking, oh no, is this project falling apart? Have I wasted all my money? Blah blah blah. That's not the case at all. Any network, at any time, not necessarily in crypto, but across the world, can always have a bad patch or a downtime. So there's nothing to worry about. Solana isn't going anywhere. It's not going to fall apart. But of course, it was maybe a bit concern for people who have invested a lot of money and seen a big crash. But then we'll go into the chart detail in a bit more in terms of strategy and things to think about when to maybe even consider things like this happening in the future, not necessarily just in this project, but other projects as well. So Solana, their founders and their team were very quick, to be honest, to come onto social media once they had identified the issue with an update. So approximately 45 minutes ago, so when that obviously happened earlier today. So it's good that they're reflecting on that, making sure that everyone's feeling confident and knows exactly what's going on. But I always think about positives when you have a bad scenario. Okay, so with my world of like marketing and PR, etc., in any case, is that how can you turn a potential bad story or a negative opportunity into a positive one? And I think they've done a really good job here of making people aware. But also I thought this was quite cool. So announcing here and pushing the CEO here, asking for validators to jump on the beta and try and help protect and improve the system immediately or as quickly as possible. So I think that's the beauty of crypto space, and particularly blockchain, is the ability to have some really clever people out there, some really thoughtful people, and incredibly knowledgeable and fantastic education in this kind of coding and development. I think absolutely phenomenal to even understand how to start to do this kind of thing. But I thought it was really cool that they came out and asked for that help. Solana is a massive asset. Of course, it's still quite new in terms of its business and everything like that. And it's reached out to say, actually, guys, please help us out. And that's what crypto should be about: improving the whole entire ecosystem, and everyone benefits no matter what. So that's just a little article that I thought I'd bring to the table, and that might conclude as to why we're seeing a bit of we've seen a negative impact, to be fair, on the charts for a few days now on Solana, and we'll go into why that is, but also particularly today, maybe just a bit too much of bad news to kick in. So let's look at that chart now, guys. Before we do, please make sure you like this video if you find it informative, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already, and press that bell notification button so you get informed of all the awesome videos we have coming your way in the future. So let's look at this chart. I drew in a few things here just for observation purposes. So we had obviously the low point down here on the 21st of July, the big major crossover on the MACD to include that we were finally going on our way up. I don't think many people anticipate, as big as you think Solana is and how confident and much you believe in it, I don't think anyone anticipated nearly 1,000% rise in this very short space of time, if you think about it, to be honest. So July to 9th of September, that's absolutely phenomenal in my opinion, and fair credit to the technology and everyone's belief behind it. But some things I wanted to point out here in particular with this big rise is, of course, there haven't been too many positions along the way from that 21st July period where we've had some maybe significant or it's certainly imperative, what I would call imperative corrections. So, excuse me. So if we look here, we had a sort of very slow stepping stone movements here, but big steps on the upside. And I thought that was quite good. It shows that everyone's really bullish about this project, really holding. And that shows like, the confidence behind this particular blockchain. And Solana is fantastic, as we've mentioned. But there's always that point where you never know where the end is. And my figuring out point of this particular part of the video is always try and take profits along the way. Okay, when you're down on the bottom side, the RSI is extremely low. For example, it was back at 32 back then, so you knew instantly, like when you were starting to get to these 70 or above levels, or even 60 or above, because then you're essentially doubling your position. It's really important to take some profits along the way, because you never know where the top is, and also it depends on your strategy in terms of whether you're trying to accumulate, utilizing a trading method, whether if you've got capital and cash to throw in every now and then, absolutely fantastic. But some people don't want to keep doing that, and they use the trade points to do that. So that's why it's important for that fact on the way down as well. So obviously, from what we've seen here, this point on the 9th of September, we obviously had in between this period of time that Bitcoin nonsense day around this period. And it kind of rejected that, to be honest. I think most of the assets did, to be honest, and that's fine. But we've seen volumes of selling creeping in more and more. We had the tail off on the histogram down here, which was indicating not necessarily immediately that we were going into bearish momentum. I think it was very obvious that we were going to take some profits at some point. But once you get to a certain resistance level, like we saw up here, around that sort of 202, 203 mark, that's when you have a big battle going on, and you can quite easily tell in the 4-hour charts or hourly charts how that's going to happen. And with big traders out there, they're going to be looking at these kind of indicators, with a fine tooth comb. And once they see an instant of a rejection here, and actually when we're struggling to get back up here, that's when you start getting the momentum downwards. We had the histogram getting lower and lower in the buying opportunities, which means that basically the volume going in was not obviously outweighing the volume going out. And now, as to basically anticipate what we thought we would see, is that crossover. And that's why I remember in the previous video, I did put some previous potential buy opportunities down here. This wasn't indicating that I think Solana is a waste of time, it's overhyped, it's going to drop. It's because, well, historically, this year, we've absolutely, this project is phenomenal. The growth is absolutely amazing. But that's one of the key reasons why I put these in here, because I was like, well, this is a humongous percentage rise. This has to come down at some point. I'm not saying that it's going to come immediately down and drop, completely tank. It could do a similar structured process on the way down, gradually as people take, potential sell-offs, they're happy or they were trying to wait out and maybe they've still got a bit of space and room to maneuver before they have to decide to definitely sell, especially if they bought down here. They've still got that good margin application as well. So that's why I put these areas in here, because one of the main reasons of that aspect, but two, we haven't really had any support levels at all from arguably this point here back in May. So if we cut that across to around this level, in fact, let me just quickly draw this in for you guys, so that you know what I'm talking about. If I can get my correct lines here. Where am I? There. So if I just stick this one in here, for example, right, this yellow line here, we haven't really tested that. We had a small mechanism of a drop here, but not enough to penetrate downwards again. So my argument here previously was that, okay, well, this might be a potential long-term buy opportunity before we start obviously tailing back up for the big bull run at the end of the year. So that's my philosophy behind that. I'm not saying it's definitely going to come down here. It could tail off and jump back up, of course, but with the anticipation that if I was buying around this area, let's say I bought in when I thought I was going to, which was around here, because at this moment in time, the RSI was really high. So strategically, I was like, it's too high for me to invest. It's too much of a risk. But then, of course, dropped a bit and it absolutely flew up again. You never know what's going to happen in this space. So you have to protect your money and protect your ideas. And that's what I did, okay? So sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But you've got to prepare for either way. So that's why I kind of put that in there. The reason I put this one in here because of this tail off here. There was obviously a good testing of this area, but I don't think it's enough, and it's certainly nowhere near these test areas that we haven't seen down here. So what I've drawn over here is different percentage drop levels. So from this top point to where we are currently, or certainly yesterday's position, was a 30% drop. Now there's a lot of talk out there about a potential 70% drop, which I didn't realize until I was doing a bit of research earlier. And that actually kind of entails with what we had here as a buy opportunity further down the line. So that could be possible. But I also put on here, as sometimes as well, you tend to get between sort of 30 and 60% reductions or corrections after a big kind of run in a crypto asset. So that covers that one right about here. I haven't put any down here, but I'm sure there's some short-term traders that are going to take some penetrating buy opportunities around this perhaps 135, 134 opportunity, and some lower ones. So it's just basically like essentially cost or averaging kind of thing, but making sure you get some opportunities on the way down. And for those that missed out, like I did, I stupidly missed out on this opportunity here. If it does get down to here, I'm definitely buying. And that's not financial advice, that's just my opinion. And if I did have the tail up, certainly from the lower levels of this profit taken down here, up here from down here, and at this stage, if I did go in and I saw this, I would be definitely thinking about these kind of areas. So I just wanted to pinpoint a couple of those opportunities that you might see on the way down. Hopefully, Solana obviously being a fantastic project, it may bounce off this. We basically so much price discovery mode since this sort of market here around the 16th of August upwards. We don't really know what the real fundamental price of Solana should be at this period of time. Of course, we're way above all the moving averages in particular, so it's really important to consider that as well. So the 50, 100, 200 for example is well above it, and particularly the ones I like to look for is that sort of 50 mark. So once we start breaking that, it could tail down, and the RSI is falling down into that middle aspect. The histogram is showing red all of a sudden, which we have not seen since the 23rd of July. In terms of, of course we see red candles here, but not enough to outstand the volume of positivity and growth and bullishness that we have seen now. So we've had this 7 day of selling off period. I don't think it's over, personally. I would love to see it bounce back up, but I think that there's some support levels here that haven't been tested, and it's dangerous. I think it's dangerous if we fly up even more, because we will have a substantial drop and people may lose a lot of money. So just be cautious about everything you do in this space, and think, like I said, about the upside, taking profits, and on the downside, taking opportunities in percentage values as well on the way down. So put some limit orders, sell orders. Like I said, it's not financial advice. It's just, if this was me, that's what I would be doing. Okay, so have a think about that. Let us know in the comments below what you're doing. When did you get into Solana? I'm really interested to know. Did you do it way back at the beginning of the year? Fantastic. Did you do it more recently, since sort of the 21st of July? Let us know your kind of strategies, what you're thinking, where it's going. Let us know your price prediction for Solana at the end of this year, of course. I think it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. In the next video, we'll review some of the comments, and we'll also go for our own price prediction of Solana properly. But I do think in order for me to do that, I need to know where our next proper support levels are to determine how healthy this project really is. Okay, so there's a lot of hype and growth, etc. here. Of course, some great announcements from Solana to help with that. But I think that obviously this is a bit of a concern at this current point in time. But let's see how it goes in the next 48 hours. And let us know in the comments below what your plans are. Really interested to know. And of course, sharing is caring. I think it really helps develop this channel. It helps develop our engagement with you guys, and also as a community. I think it's really good to know each other's thoughts and processes to maybe conclude your own. So I hope you found this video informative. Please remember to like it if you have done so, with a big thumb up for us. And guys, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you hopefully in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.